predictions for 2024.
Yeah.
And we're not going to do that this time. So stay tuned for the next video that we have for them, which will be right at the end of the year. In 2007, 2008, the market was overheated and it was going to do a correction. And if that would have been the only issue, it probably would have done a significant correction, got back on course and been fine. Hey guys, welcome to another Monday morning update chat, this time with Rosella, half of the dynamic duo team of Stephanie and Rosella over in Spokane area, Spokane County, Deer Park. Hi Rosella, how's it going?
It's good. We're getting close to the holidays.
We are in the holidays, absolutely. You look pretty kind of festive dressed up today. You look good there.
I know. This is definitely more of a Christmas attire, and so you only get to wear it a very short bit of the year. So you gotta
grab it while you can, right?
Right, exactly.
All right. We were having a fun conversation. Let's start off with that. You had a question, I think, about the economy, where we're at and what to expect.
Yeah, absolutely. So with our year coming to an end, and it's been kind of a fun year for the housing market.
It's one way to describe it.
Yeah, from what people's predictions originally were. And we keep hearing this. And so this question has once again come back around. People are interested in hearing the differences and kind of how our market is comparing to 2007, 2008. There are a couple things kind of lining up in similarities. So people's brains are going, uh-oh. And then I felt like it might be important for you and I maybe to discuss it, how they are different and maybe there are similarities, but just the differences as well.
It's a valid question, without a doubt. I do recall talking to some people mid-year, and I've seen a lot of some of the headlines, I'll call them, on social media that says impending housing crash and all of that. There has been certainly a softening in the housing market, but nothing significant. So those predictions haven't borne true. And the comparison, it's a good question. I would tell you that there are little similarities, more differences than similarities. The differences are this. In 2007, 2008, the market was overheated and it was going to do a correction. And if that would have been the only issue, it probably would have done a significant correction, got back on course and been fine. But the other problem that we had in 2007, 2008, building up to that time period, was we did a bunch of what's called subprime loans, and some of those were just dumb loans that the industry allowed to happen. Stated income borrowers who had W-2 income, who could not continue to make that mortgage payment that they agreed they were going to make. Then when the housing market fell, the mortgage market also started to topple as well. And then you had this spiral that each contributed to the other, and housing prices fell further and mortgages were bad and people had a just difficult situation. There were more foreclosures and all of that. The fundamentals now are quite different than that. For instance, after 2007, 2008, the federal government stepped in and they did the Dodd-Frank Act, which we can talk about another time, but effectively what that did is tightened up mortgage standards significantly. And I can tell you, if you talk to any of my clients over the last year, they will tell you that they were tightened up significantly. We verify income and assets and everything else very, very well on loans now. After 2008, those loans. There are very few, what I would call bad loans. They called them toxic loans before. There were a bunch of toxic loans in the market and they came tumbling down. We don't find that now. The loans are much more solid. And the other thing is the rates that people have been getting the last couple, 3 years, as you know, Rosella, are fabulously low. So the payments are very, very low, which is contributing to the housing problem, because a lot of those people who own homes and have a 3% or so rate don't want to sell that home and buy another home with a 7% or so rate and double their payment on the same home. One other thing, there is a lot of suppressed demand, I will call it, pending demand, and the surveys by a number of good institutions support that. The millennials and the Gen XY, I'll get the right one. There's a lot of people who want to buy houses now, and there isn't enough supply, as you well know, to substantiate that demand. And then people are kind of cautious now because there is also high rates. So what's happening here is rates are coming down. There's been significant drop over the last month. If you follow the economic headlines, you see that Chairman Powell of the Federal Reserve predicted that they will actually probably cut rates 2 to 3 times next year sometime. The market has reacted really well to that. Rates have come down. Housing prices have actually been stimulated somewhat. The stock market rebounded terrifically so because of all that. So we have a much more solid economic base to be, and that's the summary of all that, than 2007, 2008. I don't see housing prices coming down much at all. As a matter of fact, I think quite the reverse is going to happen once rates come down further, and that stimulates more demand, and there's more house buyers that we've been talking about. That's going to cause more competition for homes, and probably housing prices are going to increase. What do you think, Rosella, about all of that?
I don't know if I could have said it any better, honestly, John. Not only did you hit on all of the main points, the main factors, like the lending world was completely different back then, which is your realm that you have lived in, and you were still working. You were alive and kicking back then too in the lending world. So you you've been
Yeah, we were
around.
doing a lot of kicking, that's for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. So you touched on that. And then also, like you had mentioned a little bit about our home prices and our need and our demand still being there, which is also a driving factor. I looked this up just because I wanted to make sure I had the right number for everybody. But our median sale price is actually up 3.2% again. So that even goes to show you
There you
our
go.
prices. And that is just ending like through the end of November. We don't have December finalized quite yet, but that just goes to show that even though we had um, those rates were coming down, prices started coming back up just a little bit, just because we had that need there.
There you go. Yeah, that's called a sound and healthy housing market with
Yeah.
that kind of
Our
appreciation.
inventory, though, too, it does look like our inventory came up a little bit, a little over 10% as well. So that goes to show that we do have a little growth, and people are starting to feel a little more comfortable back in the market.
That's good, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to lead us into our next video, guys, which we're going to have, and we will post later on. I'm going to ask Rosella and Stephanie, if she is here, to give their predictions for 2024.
Yeah.
And we're not going to do that this time. So stay tuned for the next video that we have for them, which will be right at the end of the year. You up for that, Rosella?
Absolutely. I'm so excited.
Thank you again for your time today. Half of the dynamic duo, Rosella, over in Spokane. We appreciate you always, Rosella. You add a lot to the conversation. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.